Welcome back, food travelers, history lovers, and professional cheese enthusiasts. This is High Story Cooking Classes, a channel where history gets cooked and sometimes completely melted. Today's episode is about raclette and fondue, two dishes that prove one universal truth. If you melt cheese, people will forgive you almost anything. These legendary dishes come from Switzerland, with strong ties to France, especially in the Alpine regions, where winters are long, conversations are slow, and cheese is survival tool. Raclette and fondue weren't created by chefs in tall hats. They were created by shepherds, mountains, cold weather, saying, yeah, we're gonna need more calories. So before we start telling stories by the fireplace, let's head back to the kitchen and meet the ingredients. Raclette and fondue follow one very strict culinary rule. If it can be dipped or covered in cheese, it's invited. First, the stars of the show. Raclette cheese, semi-hard, nutty, born to melt. Fondue cheese, usually Gruyère and Emmental, smooth enough to make friendships stronger. White wine and flour. This cheese doesn't ask questions. It just melts and makes life better. Now, let's prep the supporting cast. Potatoes, because Switzerland runs on potatoes. Carrots, for people who want to feel healthy emotionally. Champignons, earthy, serious, very deep able. Onions, raw or caramelized, depending on how brave you feel. Cherry tomatoes, small, juicy, and optimistic. Bread, cubes, croutons, or cheese delivery vehicles. Honestly, if you're looking at something and thinking, would this be better with cheese? The answer is yes. And while everything gets chopped and baked for 30 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit, let's talk about where this all started. In Switzerland, cheese wasn't a hobby, it was strategy. The word raclette comes from the French racler, meaning to scrape, which is exactly what shepherds did. Heat the cheese by the fire and scrape it onto the food like absolute geniuses. Fondue comes from fondre, to melt, because sometimes naming things is hard and sometimes it's perfect. France took this idea and said, what if we made it slower, longer, and more social? And just like that, raclette and fondue became meals where everyone eats, everyone talks, and no one leaves early. Which means back to the kitchen because it's time to melt things. Raclette cheese is baked and heated slowly. This is not fast food. This is like watching cheese melting like it's a documentary. Fondue cheese is gently heated and stirred until smooth. Not boiled, not rushed. Fondue hates stress. To make fondue, take 1 cup of white dried wine. Take it to a boil. Add flour, take it to low, and stir until smooth. Add cheeses. and stir until completely melted. You stir, you wait, you talk about life, and suddenly you're emotionally attached to a pot of melted cheese. And while it melts, let's go back up to the mountains. High in the Alps, shepherds lived simple lives. They needed food that was warm, filling, and easy to share. Cheese checked every box. At night, after long days in the mountains, they gathered around the fire, melted cheese, dipped bread, and told stories. No phones, no rush, just food, warmth, and someone definitely double dipping. Which brings us to the best part, serving. Once surface became glossy and soft, you scrape it directly on baked vegetables. It's peak human achievement. Raclette served hot and scraped over your vegetables. Fondue is the main course. It is in the center of the table. Everyone eats, everyone loves, and everyone is happy. And someone always drops bread into the pot. It's tradition. Oops. Cheers. In the next episode, we're going in complete opposite direction. We're cooking a dessert that's something refreshing, something fulfilling, and something that somehow still has a story. See you next time on High Story Cooking Classes. New episodes every Saturday. And until then, keep your cheese melted and your history delicious.